your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break the keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane, living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your own prison cell.
Good morning. How y'all doing? How you doing, Internet? I'm Aries Van Dam. And today's video is one that I put off for a little while. I saw some clips, but they were clips from the Young Turks, and it's Pearl versus Ana Kasparian. And the clips I saw did not make Pearl look good, but they were from the Young Turks. So I want to break down the video because I did watch a stream the other night, and Andrew Wilson said that Pearl beat Ana. So I wanted to see it because the clips did not make it look that way. And I didn't want to watch it ahead of time because I feel like that would contaminate things. So I want to watch it fresh with all of y'all and just see if I agree that with Andrew that she won or if Ana won. But I did not want to do it just because it looked like really bad. But Ana needs this debate. She needs to prove feminism's right because it supports her entire worldview, her entire lifestyle. Everything about her life is supported by feminism. So if that falls, it's really, really problematic for Ana because that's how she makes her living. That's how she lives her life. So she's desperate to be right. And I just don't know if that's real. Like, she doesn't seem right. But we'll get into that. All right. Yeah, let's go into it.
Our main card has a little bit of a different format than what we did previously. We're going to have the opening statements for both of you. Those will be 5 minutes apiece. Then you'll each get 10 minutes to kind of do an interrogatory of the other. That will go back and forth. And then after that, we'll go into open debate. As you saw with some of the other debates earlier, we try to let the other person answer. I'll try to jump in as I can, but for the most part, I want you all to mix it up, all right? Have fun with it.
Sounds good.
And who is first?
I'm first.
I thought so. Ana, take it away. We got 5 minutes.
In a May 2024 appearance on Tim Pool's Culture War podcast, my opponent, Pearl Davis, declared that women aren't really doing much. We're not having kids. We're not really contributing to the economy when you look at output. In fact, she uses this ridiculous assertion to argue that women should not have the right to vote. While it's true the birth rate has declined, and we'll revisit that in a bit, women account for 47%.
She's going to tell us how that's men's fault somehow. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Women decide who gets to have sex, but it's men's fault.
7% of the American workforce. The Council of Economic Advisors found that women have contributed a substantial portion of the U.S. economic growth since 1970, which wouldn't have been made possible without the feminist movement. By 2017, women...
Wow, we insert you into our economy and you produce some stuff. Cool. I kind of figured that.
Women were responsible for nearly 40% of total gross domestic product, amounting to a whopping $7.6 trillion. Of course, that
$3 billion of which is OnlyFans, Bo, just so you know.
Figure doesn't include the trillions of dollars in unpaid labor women do every year, tending to the household, raising children, and caring for ailing parents. And when it comes to certain sectors of our economy, men
don't take care of their ailing parents. We just throw them out to the wolves.
Are a dominant and indispensable force. Like in the healthcare industry, where they make up nearly 80% of workers, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Nurses, yes, it's always been that way.
That's 16.4 million women. When it comes to education, in 1960, women earned less than 35% of all bachelor's degrees. Today, they earn roughly 58% of all bachelor's degrees, which Pearl herself benefited from after graduating from Elmhurst University. Women also earn over 60% of master's degrees. I hope to hear Pearl explain how a more educated and skilled population somehow translates to cultural
Yes, they're educated on how to tell us how we're supposed to do all the work for them. Yes, they're educated in that now. Cool.
decline, especially as we compete with China in this increasingly multipolar world. The modern feminist movement also had a major impact on decreasing domestic violence, and that's according to the US Department of Justice. Rates of intimate partner violence decreased by more than 60% from 1994 to 2010. And that's thanks to protective order statutes and funding for shelters beginning in the 1970s and 80s. Not only did the two-income household become more financially resilient, especially during economic downturns, women gained the ability to leave abusive relationships, an outcome correlated with improved child health and educational attainment.
And lower population numbers. She forgets that part.
A culture that protects people from violence is not one that's indicative of cultural decline. Pearl herself has benefited greatly from the feminist movement, thanks to Title IX in 1972, signed by Nixon, of course. Sex-based discrimination in any school program or activity that receives federal funding is prohibited. Pearl herself had a rather impressive record playing for Elmhurst University's volleyball team, having earned
Like there was no volleyball before Title IX. What the fuck? That's been there way before Title IX.
all conference honors as a senior. She later pursued professional volleyball in London. She could have stayed in the
And thanks to Anna's decisions and worldview, now she gets to play against men. Isn't that cool?
United States and served in her role as a traditional woman, but she didn't. And she could have been the traditional chaste woman living out her dream of everything women were supposed to do before feminism, but she is neither traditional nor chaste.
If she lived close to me, she'd be very chaste.
By her own admission. While feminists would have no problem with her personal choices, she has made a career bashing women for theirs. Critics often argue that modern feminism has weakened families and resulted in a lower birth rate.
Her point is, don't criticize women when they make bad decisions. You just have to let them make them.
They tend to dismiss empirical evidence demonstrating the insidious impact of the internet, social media on modern relationships. They also brush economic instability under the rug, despite young people citing their personal finances as the main reason why they're holding off on marriage in the first place. In lieu of discussing those factors, Pearl spends much of her time discouraging men from getting married in the first place. During her debate with Trent Horn, she declared that men are better off shacking up without ever getting married. Her reasoning? Women are too fat and STD infected.
25%, that's a lot.
That is a
You
lot.
did say that. She didn't stop to think
didn't
about
deny it.
how they contracted the STDs in the first place.
I've thought about that a long time. It's because of hypergamy. Yes, the 10% of men who fuck all the women. Yes, and I'm probably in like the 15%. I get a little bit, but the 10% is fucking all the same women. The lower 80%, they're not transmitting a lot of STDs because they're not getting laid.
Data from the National Library of Medicine show that modern men are just as promiscuous as modern women. Men and
If they can be, which they can't because of hypergamy.
women are in bad shape, and in the United States, we can discuss why, but feminism is not the reason.
Very good. Thank you.
It absolutely is.
Nice job. Okay, Pearl, we got 5 minutes. You're going to be on the clock, and let's go.
Most debaters and commentators are elitists who tell average Americans from their ivory towers what to think and how to feel. My answer to this question not only comes from covering current events and researching the facts, data, and statistics, but also in my professional experience interviewing over 1,000 people in America and Western nations. Feminism has given women power, and power corrupts. And that's what's happening. Feminism is robbing men of their disposable income and their prime earning years. Feminism has empowered women. It has empowered women to be sexually promiscuous. Feminists say that they fought for women to not subject themselves to the approval of men, Why then are 5 to 10% of women between the ages of 18 to 25 on OnlyFans or other prostitution websites? There are more online prostitutes in America than female Walmart employees.
Jesus.
1 of 3 women will catch an STD at some point in their lifetime. 90% will catch HPV, which is incurable. Feminism has empowered women to abort 1/8 of the world population and 1/3 of Gen Z. Feminists have been so empowered to commit paternity fraud. Paternity fraud is unpunished in any state in the USA or any country in the West. If done correctly, a man will have to pay for a child he was fooled into believing was his until that child reaches maturity. In some states, that man will also have to pay for that kid's college. That is slavery and is forbidden under the 13th Amendment. 1/3 of paternity tests are negative by the American Association of Blood Banks. Feminism has empowered women to rob men of their time, their resources, their reputation, their children, and in the most extreme cases, their lives. They do this through child support, alimony, false allegations, and paternity fraud. How many people in this arena have a brother, a father, an uncle, or a friend who has gone through this meat grinder? Anna has been on the air for 15 years and is completely oblivious to these issues.
Stop interrupting.
It's a silent genocide
You don't interrupt the opening statements. That's my job.
of the lives of millions of men. Standing on the sidelines of the arena, I have 33-year combat veteran Terrence Popp. He served through 3 wars and was almost killed in 2. He got married, had 2 children, and served in the United States Army. Terrence Popp was deployed to Iraq in 2004, and as a member of the airborne infantry, he was wounded by a roadside bomb and suffered a TBI and a stroke from the blast. He was evacuated out of the country, and it took over 2 years until he had recovered. While he was recovering, his wife was plotting to divorce him. His wife murdered his 6-year-old chocolate lab out of spite because he filed for divorce first. When he confronted her, the response he got was, "I told you I did not want you living here."
She'd have got John Wick out of me.
At this point, he was forced to leave the marital home and live out of his car. The divorce took away his home, his children, and left him penniless and saddled with a child support payment he could not afford. Terrence had to pay $144,000 over a 12-year period for a divorce that his wife was empowered by feminists to plan and execute. Terrence went into court to fight for 50-50 custody. Terrence was called a murderer and an assassin in open court and was given 96 hours a month with his children. 96 hours a month is not a father. While homeless, he spoke to many other men who would never get off the streets due to child support arrearages and penalties, and the men constantly getting arrested for unpaid child support. The disparage of losing his children and his home, and his PTSD and constant pain from his wounds, he became suicidal. While at his post in 2008, a former commander of his came to see him to secretly say his last goodbyes. The next day, Mr. Popp's former commander put on his dress blues and went to the Holy National Veterans Cemetery and blew his brains out. Terrence Popp was notified of the death and was shocked because he was planning to commit suicide in the exact same manner. So in effect, his former commander took the bullet that was meant for him. Terrence Popp decided he would not kill himself and has spent the last 20 years saving 576 men from suicide with comedy. If you look to the left of the stage, Terrence is holding the dog tags for every life that he has saved. Now, why am I telling you this? Shout out to Terrence, yeah. Now, why am I telling you this? Because men and American veterans are put in this position because of the empowerment that feminists like Anna have pushed for. There are millions of men that have died in this country from the political power that feminism pushes. Since 1970, an estimated 1.6 million men have committed suicide.
Time. Stop there.
Okay. Now that's both first opening statements. I've got that pretty even. That wasn't a beat down like I was seeing in the clips. So good sign. Good fucking sign right here.
If feminists cared about equality, why aren't they fighting for equality in divorce and family court as hard as they are fighting for abortion, working, or becoming sex workers? Thank you.
I would edge that one to her, actually.
Okay.
Pearl did better.
This is gonna be going to be a heavy one. We're going to go now to the opening interrogations. We have 10 minutes. Do we have that on the clock? Yeah, it's fading in right there. Okay, and take it away. 10 minutes.
Who's interrogating who?
Whoever wants to begin.
Aside from the
Yeah, that's what I was seeing in the clips. Crystal Rowe, that the clips made me very depressed. That's why I put this one off for a little bit, because I was like, I just don't want to get into it. But it's not so bad so far. I think she kind of took the opening statement, but they got a lot of rough waters coming.
specific anecdote that you shared, which of course is tragic.
And it
Can you
happens all the
cite some
time.
actual studies that look at the statistics and back up what you say in regard to the outcomes of marriage and divorce in America?
41% of 109 rape cases reported to police in a Midwestern city were admitted to be false by complainants.
In one Midwestern city? And which Midwestern city was that?
You know, you can go from your ivory tower and
I'm
tell
not in an
people what
ivory
to
tower.
think
I'm
and
on
Okay, this is the first bad sign. Pearl needed to know that information. That's preparation. She really should have done that.
this debate stage interrogating your assertions, and you've only provided an anecdote.
Right.
Because
It's
if you
not-
look at the data, which I did, of course, you'll find that women are twice as likely to fall into poverty after divorce.
Right, because they can't stop
Alimony is
spending.
paid out in 10% of divorces. According to the Census Bureau, the average child support payment is $441 a month, and only 60%
Right, but how
of
much are
those
they
payments
making?
get paid out.
How much?
Women do not get child custody.
Majority of our population is very, very poor. So yes, if you were working at McDonald's, I don't think they're going to make you pay $10,000 a month in child support. So some of them are going to be low because they just don't make enough money. You can't pay what you don't make.
90% of the time, as you have asserted before. In fact, 95% of custody cases are mutually agreed upon outside of the courtroom. Women get full custody 40% of the time. Men do get full custody 20% of the time. And
Agreed, brother. That's why it was so hard for me to do this one.
40% of the time, it's shared custody, which I think is the ideal situation, assuming that neither spouse is abusive.
And Pearl, excuse me, before you respond, if you could take your microphone out and hold it, it would be easier to hear you.
Okay.
This debate looks like some of my streams.
Alimony and medical care and dental are not covered by that, so a lot of times it does go above 50%. Again, you can go through the facts, the data, and the statistics and manipulate them any way that you want.
It's not
But
manipulation.
there are
Those are the
1.6
stats.
million. There are 1.6 million men in this country. Men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide after a divorce.
Compared to women, what's the number for women?
It's lower.
Really? What is it?
You didn't know that, Pearl.
Comparative analysis is real difficult for you, isn't it? Go ahead, Pearl.
What's your next question?
You have asserted that men shouldn't get married, that instead they should
I didn't
shack
say
up.
that.
You did say that with
did
Trent
not say
Horn.
that.
Word for word, you said it makes more sense for them to shack up, live with a girlfriend instead of getting married.
And it does. It's good advice for men, especially if you're secular. If you're not in the church, why would you ever fucking get married? It's just asking somebody to take half your shit. There's no reason to. Women get divorced whenever they watch a movie that makes them feel a different way. Why would you fucking ever sign up for something like that if you're not going to the church?
Do you think the advice that
Right,
you give to
right.
men is the type of advice that will fulfill their lives? Because I'll tell you one thing, the best part of my life is my husband. I love my husband. He's my rock. He's my foundation. And no, my husband is number one. I love
Number one purse carrier.
my career, but you know what my career did? When I met my husband, my career was already established. He, on the other hand, was couch surfing, he was in debt, and didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. I married him anyway.
Whenever women have an option, that is what they prefer. Like, they do prefer that. They want a guy who's got a lot of money, but they'd rather take a guy with a big dick who fucking looks good. They like that too. You act like that's some kind of a noble thing. You fucked a loser with a big dick. Congratulations. Every woman has done that.
Anyway, you want to know why? Because I had the economic freedom to marry for love, not for some Chad to take care of me.
How tall is he?
Oh, he's 6'1", about your height. None, I don't want kids.
I don't-
Let's
Why
not do
don't-
shouting questions from there, please. Allow these two to debate each other.
Okay, what's your question?
I mean, you don't really have much to answer, so I don't know what else to ask you. Do you think you're helping men by discouraging them from entering fulfilling marriages?
What happened?
How do you know they would be fulfilling? How can you? That's an unknowable thing. That's what these the liberals do. They'll just ask you things that are unknowable and expect you to. Yes, it would not be a fucking good marriage. Most likely, that's why most end, right? And most are ended by the woman because she just decides, yeah, I'd rather just take half his shit and go do something else. So I'm not getting into a relationship where you can end it like that and take half my shit for no reason. That's dumb.
What happens to men if they don't pay child support?
I mean,
What happens? What happens, Anna?
how many men do you think get
What
arrested?
happens to
I don't know
men
what the
when they
number
don't
is,
get-
but the
What
idea that
happens
there's
to
like a
men when
huge
they
number
don't-
of men getting arrested for not doing what they're supposed to do
15%
and take care of their children, it's not a huge issue.
I wanted to say that too. I think a lot of these feminists don't really believe the shit. They just know they've got it better and they don't want to give up that power. Anna's smart enough. You can tell just by how she talks and stuff. She's from the GATE program too, if she wasn't at a private school. I promise you, she's smart enough to know that a lot of the shit she's saying is bullshit. It's just obvious. You can't have that much intelligence and not know that one side gets more advantages than the other. It's just insane.
What
I know they
happens
don't.
to men when they don't
Really?
pay child support?
Only
You
60%
gotta-
of
hold
child
on,
support
Anna.
payments
You
get
gotta
paid
allow
out.
you gotta allow her to interrogate you, not them. You gotta stop yelling questions
Look,
at her.
you can minimize men's problems all you want, but I don't think you understand how privileged of a position you're in.
In what way? How am I privileged?
Men are the ones that are on the hook for child support. Men are the ones that are.
Didn't she say she had white privilege too? She's even got that. She admitted to having white privilege many times on the Young Turks. Now she's saying, what privilege are you talking about?
On the hook for alimony. It's easy for you to tell men to just take the risk when you're not in that position.
So are you asserting that men shouldn't pay child
Men-
support following a divorce? Do you believe that
Feminists-
women should
feminists
be
wanted-
financially
feminists-
responsible 100% after a divorce?
Feminists wanted.
I don't think they should. I think they should get 50-50 custody like I did so you don't have to pay child support. I think you should be a part of your child's life at least half of the time. And if you are half the time, why would you pay a woman for anything? You're being a parent just as much as she is. So I fought it. I didn't have to pay child support. That's the way you do it.
To be equal. So I say be equal. If you guys want equality, 50-50 custody, no child support, no alimony, no special privileges.
Alimony is paid out in 10%
It doesn't
of
matter if
divorces.
you're part of the
It does matter.
10%.
It does matter
It
because you make
doesn't
it
matter
seem
if you're part
like
of the 10%.
it's a widespread issue when
The
it's
tender
only
years
10%.
doctrine is a sexist law against men. That's sexist.
How is it sexist
Where-
if a
where have you
woman
guys- it
decided
assumes-
to
it
forego a
assumes
career,
that-
decided to be a stay-at-home mother, and the marriage doesn't work out, she has no job, she has no income, so you think it's unfair to get support from her ex-husband so she can raise the
I wouldn't give up those little exchanges where she just lets her keep talking. I just talk over her louder as I go. You can't let women start getting comfortable like that because then she's going to start interrupting more and more. I can already see where this is going just from the stuff I saw in the clips. If you let them get away with it early like that, you got to just keep talking. Do not stop talking. Just talk louder and louder until they shut the fuck up like women are supposed to do.
kids.
60%,
So she can pay.
60% of kids under 5 have daycare. Daycare is an option now. You wanted to be men.
Do you know how much daycare costs?
You wanted to be men. Here you
Do you know how
have
much
it.
You gotta
daycare
let her
costs?
answer.
Do you think
You're
it's
not
free?
letting her answer. Let her answer.
A lot of things are expensive, Anna. I mean, it's
That's,
men.
that's not an answer.
Women have 85%.
This is actually like a streamer versus a professional debater. That's why it looks so bad. But the points she's bringing up are actually really good points. It's just she's not doing it with any kind of charisma. She needs to have the charisma she has on her podcast, and I think it would be a lot better. This is just she's very uncomfortable, and you can tell. I think she would do a lot better if this was like a debate where it was like on video and they were comfortable in their own studios. This would go a much different way, I think.
Of consumer spending. Women spend money all the time. You spend money on hair dye, you spend money on Botox, you spend money.
You should
on
think
the-
about it.
On the
Oh, first ad hom here. She should think about it. She's 20 something. She looks better than you. She just doesn't wear a lot of makeup and fake shit like Anna does. Anna gets Botox. So you can imagine what she's going to look like in her 50s.
I sure am.
You spend
As if she's
money
hot.
all of the time.
Yep.
So you wanted to be men. Here it is. You're equal. Pay for daycare.
Equality means that when you have a child or children, you're both responsible. So the
Right.
idea that the woman should take 100% of the costs on herself without any help from her husband or ex-husband is ridiculous. How is that fair?
Well, how is it fair that he doesn't get 50-50 custody?
Well, first of all,
It's
why
50
are you asserting that they don't?
It's 50% his DNA. Why can't he have 50% custody? Where
There
have
was a
feminists
study.
been? I've been
Let
on
me answer.
I think the Pierce Morgan thing when she got canceled too, that really kind of fucked up her. She was doing so much better, and then like she had to take it a while just to build back up after that bullshit happened when she got canceled.
Your
20
question, even though
different.
I should be interrogating you. I'll answer your question. Massive study out of Massachusetts that looked at 24,000 divorces. In those 25 divorces, they found that in only 8% of cases did men ask.
See, Pearl needs to point this back. I used a whole town. You're only using 25 examples. Why is yours better than my whole town we were talking about a minute ago? Start using some of her own tactics against her. She tried to call in question your studies. You call into question hers. Even if you know it's really kind of valid, you still got to do it because she did it to you. Ah, fuck.
Getting married. Do you think the advice
Right,
that you give to
right.
men is the type of advice that will fulfill their lives? Because I'll tell you one thing, the best part of my life is my husband. I love my husband. He's my rock. He's my foundation. And no, my husband is number one. I love my career.
It was about
but you know
right
what
here
my
when I fucked it
problem
up.
with
There it is.
men carrying out their responsibilities. But
Men
when it comes to
men are dying to care about their responsibilities. Men
Really?
are fighting to be a part of their kids' lives.
what's the empirical data on that?
I don't need data.
should
How
know
many
that, though.
people in here have had a family or a friend fight for their kid and not be able to get it? The reason that this happened.
I had to sell my house and cash out 2 retirements just to get 50-50 custody. And it took 3 years. 3 years. I didn't date for a decade. This shit is very important to me. So that's why I like to focus on these, even though this one didn't go the way I wished it would have. I gotta keep it going.
Anna, is because lawyers tell them not to fight because it's so expensive and they won't win.
What is
They
that
won't
based on?
win.
You have to provide, look, Pearl,
I do win.
I am open to be convinced, but I need more than anecdotes. I need more than vibes and feelings. Because we're talking about something serious here. We're talking about raising children. We're talking about the shared responsibility of raising children. That, of course, includes the cost.
90% of disputed custody goes to women. That's not equal.
90%, that's a totally made up statistic. Where are you citing that from?
She needs to be able to cite that. That is a statistic. I don't know if it's quite 90. I think it's like lower than that, but it is very, very, very high. She needs to be able to cite that.
All right, let's take a break there.
That was
Time
painful
actually
to
ran
watch.
out. Those opening interrogations are over. Let's take a moment here. You guys want to grab a sip of water? All right. The next step is going to be 30 minutes. We're going to open it up. Again, open debate. I'd remind you guys, I know everyone's passionate about this. I get that. But we can't have multiple people debating at the same time, right? We got one debater here. We got one debater here.
I'm doing that.
Here. All right? Let's put 30 minutes on the clock. And let's begin the open debate. Pearl, I'll let you pick up here. Go ahead.
What happens to men when they don't pay child support?
There are consequences for it, especially when
Which
there's a
are?
court order for them to
Which
carry
are?
out their responsibility and pay child support so that child can be raised.
And what happens
Do you
if they
think
don't
there
pay
shouldn't
it?
be legal responsibilities or legal consequences if they fail to carry out a court
That's where I say I'm asking the questions here, bitch.
order to, take care of their kids?
I've interviewed men that have paid millions of dollars in
Don't
child
care about your
support and
interviews.
married-
Anecdotal evidence doesn't matter. What I need is actual, statistic, empirical evidence. They should pay their child support. $441.
That's painful. I would just pull my phone out. I'd be like, hold on, bitch. I'll fucking find it for you. I know they can't, but God, that would
What
suck.
happens?
Is the average child support payment $441 a month?
Yeah, that's for someone that makes $24,000 a year.
You just told me a woman can just go to work and take care of the kids totally by herself.
How does a guy live when he's paying $500 a month and $24,000 a year?
You think $500 a month is too much in child support? Do you know how much it costs to raise a child? Do you know
Look.
how much
When you make $24,000 a year, yes, that is way too much.
childcare costs, for instance? I mean, that mother has to go to work, right? Where's the kid going to stay while that mother is working? How is she?
Yeah, that's the painful part. And that's the part. I wish she was more prepared. If she was more prepared, she would have been able to bulldog Anna, because Anna does not know shit. This is all just her fucking trying to defend the shit. But she's done it for decades. This is Pearl's first real debate, I think.
You're going to pay for the
What a
the,
fucking
What
first
happens
debate
to men
opponent.
when they
Daycare.
don't pay child support?
Sorry, say that again.
What
I'm gonna be debating Tucker Carlson for my first. Like, that's crazy.
happens to men when they don't pay child support?
There are legal repercussions for not
What-
carrying out a court
Okay.
mandate
Do you think
to
that
do something.
Do you think that fraud should be illegal?
Absolutely.
Okay. So why is it not illegal for women to fraud men on paternity? If a man does not find out he's the father over the age of 2, he is on the hook for child support for 18 years.
I don't
Why-
know
where
what the
have you
law
been on
is
this
when it
issue?
comes to
A
that.
third-
But it's
a-
wrong. If you're lying about paternity, that is wrong, and there should be legal
Well,
consequences
why
for
haven't
that.
feminists fought?
It's that simple.
Then why aren't feminists fighting for it, Anna?
Because feminists fight.
I agree with that. But Andrew said he thought the Pearl won it. I'm wanting to see if that was just like, because they're friends, you would think that. But I just wanted to see if it really does, because I didn't see the whole debate from the clips. And this was part of the clips that I saw. Like all this where she just doesn't have an answer. That looks really bad in debate. You got to have something to say. Just make up something. Don't just sit there like that. That is not a good look in a debate.
For women, obviously.
Right, that's my point.
Yeah.
At the expense of men. You guys want to believe women at the expense of men. Why isn't Amber Heard in jail? Because of the Me Too movement. You guys pushed believing all rape victims, and now we have rape.
Amber
and now
Heard had to pay out a massive
Let her
settlement.
continue her statement.
Yeah, but why isn't she in jail?
Yeah, Johnny Depp would have been in prison if she would have gotten him convicted of all that shit. But she got nothing. Women should have the same consequences they were trying to get on the man when they made a false allegation. They should make false allegations just as bad as whatever the charge was going to be. That's the only way you're going to get it to end.
You want her in jail?
Yes.
Well,
She ruined
the
his
penalties
life.
for defamation are what the court's decision is, right? You want people to go to prison for defamation?
He had to go to 2 different.
I thought the same thing, that Andrew was just saying that because they're friends and because the position, he wants the conservatives to always win debates. But Andrew's not the type of person that's going to let his credibility be soiled by picking a loser in a debate. Like, I just had to see for myself. That's why I was really curious about it. And that's what made me make this video today. I want to see, because I think Anna won the opening statements. This is making her look terrible, but she is bringing up good points. So it's like, it's not as bad of a beating as you would think it would be, because she is arguing the correct side, I feel. And I don't know if that's just my bias or whatever, but I definitely feel like her points are much better. They look so bad because she sits there like a deer in the headlights. You don't want to ever look like that.
different countries declare his name.
I-
Why
okay.
isn't she in
Yeah,
jail?
I don't
He
get a lot of
lost
chatters.
millions of dollars.
To be clear, you think the penalty for defamation is prison time?
I think the penalty for a false accusation is that the woman should get the same time that he would have gotten if he was found guilty.
Men don't go to prison for defamation.
And see, this is the problem with feminists. You want all these freedoms, but you won't actually be equal.
I do
Be
want
equal.
equality.
No, if
No,
you
you
wanted to
don't.
be equal, you would fight for 50-50 child support, no alimony.
Oh God,
alimony.
that's nerves.
So again, if a woman decided to forego working,
How about putting women in the draft? I'd have thrown that in there too. That's not equal. How about having the right men having the right to not pay child support if they don't want the child? If women can have an abortion, why can't I abandon my rights, my responsibility to it? It's a clump of cells when I don't want to take care of it, just like it's a clump of cells when you want to murder it. Why can you do that and I can't just say I don't want to pay for its shit for 18 years? How is that fair? That's not equal. He doesn't even have a say in it. You tell a woman, oh, well, we'll take care of that. We know we have procedures we can do with if they have like sex that they're regretting and they don't want to have a baby with this loser that they fucked, they can just get rid of it. But a man, like he fucks some bar skank and now she wants to have a baby because she's going to get paid for 18 years. How is that fair? That is totally unfair and they never even address it. They don't give a shit. Feminism is not about equality. It's about getting shit better for women. And that's why things are so much better for women. We need a masculinity like thing that like takes the opposite side and gets entrenched in the schools just like feminism did. That's the only way we're going to get this shit to change. Yeah, that's all she says. That's all she says. And it's just so sad Pearl didn't have any of that. I wish she would have brought like some studies and some numbers.
decided to stay home to raise the children, and the marriage doesn't work out. She's got no income whatsoever. She doesn't deserve any
women
alimony.
aren't even doing that. Number one, that's not even women are not staying home with the kids. And number two, you have daycare.
A lot of women
You
do
have-
these days,
you
actually.
have daycare as
The
a choice.
the traditional
Again.
women who want to stay home, they want to be traditional wives.
Let me think on that one. Let me think on that one a little bit. Abortions, yes. Birth control, I don't know. Like condoms, even. Like I don't know. Maybe to solve the population problem, that would be a good thing. Yeah, I could see that. I kind of like that. That's growing on me. I'm gonna dwell on that a little more because I do like that idea. I'm starting
And
to.
you trash them all the time, which I don't understand.
if
It
feminists
seems like
cared
women
about
can't do anything
equality,
right when it
look,
comes to you, right?
If
They're
feminists
stay-at-home moms,
is-
they're
Look,
traditional.
To anyone.
They're
Ask her a question.
I
Let her respond.
understand that you can personally attack me. That's
I'm not personally attacking you.
okay.
These are
You told her she needs Botox.
things that you have said on the record multiple times.
But if you cared about equality, you would care about false accusations. You would
I do care about false
No,
accusations,
you
yep.
don't.
You don't know me. You don't know what I care about.
We've been watching you for 20 years.
Look, all right.
Watching you get older.
Let's talk about rights that men do not have. Men do not have the right to be enlisted in selective service. You know, we have 125K men who were drafted and buried overseas. Think about that over a second. You talk about the oppressions of the past, but how many men died in World War I and World War II and had no choice? And yet Anna complains about oppression. Men do not have the right to face their accuser in court when they have a false allegation and for personal protection orders that strips constitutional rights away from the man. Women go before a judge and say they don't feel safe, and more than likely a PP order will be issued. The man was not in court.
See, the one problem I'm seeing with that is we might make women like we got to change the laws around custody and stuff. If we got to change some of that too, because it's just gonna make women rich if we do that and still allow them to divorce men and take all their shit. Yeah, because there are gonna be a lot more marriages probably resulting from the more children. I'm just going over all some of the entailments that are gonna come from that little getting rid of birth control thing. I'm just thinking of some other things. So sorry to interrupt.
Had no say, has no defense, and does not get to face his accuser. That is done en masse, and many servicemen and first responders lose their careers over this because it strips a man's Second Amendment rights away based on no evidence. Men
Where are
do
you
not
getting
have the
that
right to
information
raise
from?
their children. Divorce is no fault, but when it comes to child custody, it's always the man's fault. He loses his children to the system. 96 hours a month the father does not make. Men have longer prison sentences. Women get a third of the time for the same crime. Where are the feminists fighting for equality on that issue? There There has been rampant discrimination against better qualified men in hiring across multiple industries. Men pay more child support, and child support orders are not enforced at the same rates between men and women. Women are more likely
women pay
not
child
to
support.
pay
Fascinating.
and are prosecuted for non-payment at lower rates.
She needs to know the stats there that women do not pay as much as men do, not even close.
Men cannot opt out of parenthood. Men have very few domestic violence shelters and are not taken seriously when they're domestic violence victims.
I agree on that.
White men in particular, are discriminated against when it comes to hiring and educational attainment.
That is a weird one to agree on. Yeah, they should have more battered men's shelters. Like, how many people would be in there? Like 1 or 2? How many dudes are getting beat up by other women so bad they want to go live in a shelter? Not a lot. I don't think a lot.
True.
The Duluth model is a model that law enforcement, courts, and counselors use automatically that assumes men are the aggressor. The tender years doctrine is a guideline in divorce used to justify removing the father from the child's life. The only institutional sexism that exists is institutional sexism.
Right, but Crussell Row, it would still be the same thing. Like if you don't change the laws around divorce, they're still going to be wealthy. They're still going to. It's not going to change anything. I'm gonna have to think about that more. Hit me up on X. We need to discuss this.
that discriminates against men in favor of women. Furthermore, U.S. courts do not require receipts to show how that money is spent by the custodial parent unless there's overwhelming evidence of starvation, malnutrition, or severe child abuse. There are numerous reports of custodial
You want the
parents
government
spending
to
the money
check
on
receipts and
luxury.
see, like...
Let's let her respond to some of that.
Hold on, let's understand something. You want government to be so big that you literally have the government looking at receipts to see what a mother is spending the money on? That's insane.
I want
No, how about you just let him buy the food or let him buy the electricity bill? Like he pays the electricity bill, something like that. Why should he be financing her trip to Cabo? That doesn't, just take it and do whatever you want with it. Yeah, we'll pretend like it's all for the kid. It is most likely, I don't know that it is ever all for the kids, ever. Or if it's not for other kids that are also in the house. And I don't think mommy just buys the food and feeds it just to that one kid. I think everyone in the house eats that food. So I would like to see some kind of accountability here because one child does not eat $300 worth of food a week. That's just crazy.
child support, no alimony, 50-50.
Yeah, because you're crazy and you don't live in reality.
I want equality. I'm more of a feminist than you, Anna. Because I say if you want to vote, be in selective service. Be on the front lines just like the men are.
Who do you think gives birth to and raises those soldiers?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because you assert that women shouldn't be allowed to vote because they're not all in mandatory military service.
I say be equal. You want to vote, do what the men do. Men are fined $125,000.
Should women be included in combat? Should women be included in combat?
Yes.
Okay.
Do what the men do.
Fair.
Do what the men do.
Yeah, fair. Agreed. Next?
It's pretty cool.
Next? Nothing? Okay. I want to know what your ideal...
Dead air in a debate is the worst. The time, like that the actual dead air is there, is multiplied in your head because it just feels so much longer. It just feels like she sat there for an hour just now. And it was only a couple seconds. But like you just can't have dead air and like puzzled looks. That just makes you look like you're losing, even if you're saying good stuff. You can't just sit there and look like you're stun locked.
Woman is. Because if you are a traditional conservative woman who's married, staying at home, raising kids, you trash them.
There's no such thing as a traditional woman.
Not today.
They cannot be traditional in 2025 because women will always have the leverage.
What does that mean? What does it mean that women will always have the leverage?
Women have child support to fall back on. Women have alimony. So automatically...
10% of divorces end with alimony settlements.
And
10%.
And they go...
You just ignore the stats.
They
you
go
just move
from
on.
men to women.
I'm not positive, but I wouldn't say no. Probably I'll say. I don't know.
They go from men to
Seems
women.
like.
Billions of dollars every year.
I thought you said earlier that women are paying alimony.
Billions of dollars of wealth every year is transferred from men to women.
Mm-hmm. Based on what? Where are you
through
getting that
family
information from?
court.
You're just making it up?
Look at
No, she could easily find that. I wish she had that.
we have it. We're excited. We can get it to you at the end. You didn't
Armenian,
want to submit.
okay.
Where are your sources? You didn't want to submit them ahead of
I,
time.
I,
you did.
the Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics,
She doesn't look Armenian.
I cited everything I mentioned. Pull it up. Pearl, the main thing I want people to understand, okay, Pearl's gonna trash women no matter what. That's fine.
I'm not trashing
But
them.
my biggest gripe with you is you're discouraging people from entering marriages.
I don't tell men what to do. Sell me on.
You
okay,
advise
Anna,
men to avoid marriage.
Sell me on marriage.
It's good advice. Yes, I would just agree with that, Pearl. Yes, I do tell them not to because it's a bad deal for them.
What do men?
Her subscribers are her family. Her subscribers are the people she looks out for. That's just the way I want to look out for y'all. That's she wants to give good advice. She doesn't want to give shitty advice.
Men get out of marriage.
That's sad. It's sad that people think that. It really is. You get a partner, you get a teammate, you get to build a life together, and it's beautiful. I feel like misery
plastic
loves
surgery.
company in this situation. And how would you know what you get out of marriage if you haven't experienced marriage in the first place?
How do you know what they'll get out of it? You were the one saying she's warding them away from happy marriages. How do you know they would be happy? If half of them end, how do you what evidence do you have that there's any happy marriages anymore?
I'm not
Prove
saying
it.
that as a personal attack. I really hope that Pearl meets the love of her life
Why do
and
we
gets
have-
married.
why
It's
do-
not about that. But you trash
Don't let her
it
overtalk you.
without really understanding what the benefits are.
Why do we have phrases like it's cheaper to keep her?
Pearl,
That's weak. But
Answer the question.
divorce is expensive. And by the way, on purpose to discourage people from getting divorced in the first
it's expensive for one party in a divorce. Yes, it's very expensive for one person in a divorce.
place.
Why do we have phrases like happy wife, happy life?
Because
come on,
it's
Pearl.
true. Same with happy husband, happy life. I don't want to come home to an angry husband.
But that's not a phrase.
Do you have
is
any
it?
other like catchphrase or slogan you want to throw at me?
What do men get out of marriage?
They get a partner.
That gains 25 pounds in the first 5 years.
Men get pretty fat
Here we
too.
go.
I don't know
Thank
if
you,
you've
Pearl.
done a comparative analysis on that. They actually end up gaining more weight than their wives do. And who cares?
Men.
I mean, have a conversation with your partner. Encourage her.
How
Be an
can
adult.
Yes, it's really easy to encourage a woman to get off the sofa when that's all she has to do all fucking day long. You act like women listen. They don't fucking listen ever. So encouragement, yeah, I've tried that. I date women, and when I meet one and they don't look like their profile picture, I try to encourage them. I'm like, hey, if you want to keep doing this, let's go to the gym. I'm not gonna fucking a fat girl forever.
How can men and women be equal?
Especially if she's giving you
How can men
children.
and women be equal when
Exactly.
one is
She doesn't ask for the
expected to die
evidence
the other?
back. That's what she needs to do.
I don't expect anyone to die for anyone else. I don't know what that even comes
Yeah,
from.
but men are willing to die for you every day. The men in the police.
Yeah, who goes and fights your wars, bitch? You don't want to get in the draft. You want to tell men who to go fight in wars and not leave your ivory castle, like she said. You want to be controlling men, but you're not going to ever be the one that has to worry about getting drafted. And that's not fair. You say you want equality, make that equal.
Force, the men in the military.
What about the women in the police force?
They're not.
Incompetent. Yes, I was in the police force, and they are awful. The worst thing you can see on a scene whenever you need help is to see a woman trying to get out of the car and do her makeup before she gets out. Yeah, that's the fucking worst. I'd rather just not have no one show up.
They're 10%, and they cause so
So
many
what?
problems.
Who cares what percentage women make up of the police force?
Yeah,
They're in
but
the police
can't-
force.
they
My
can't-
sister-in-law's
Yeah, who cares if they suck ass? They're there.
a cop, actually.
We made them take them, so they're there now. So yay.
They can't do
point.
the same jobs.
Right.
There's videos on the internet
Exactly.
where women getting their guns taken because they're not strong enough.
Are you just making things up?
No, I'm telling you what I saw over and over and over again.
Pearl, what are you doing? Like, seriously. Next question.
Too much silence. Say something. Say something. Say something. Say anything. Start singing. Sing. Sing, Pearl, please.
You
Sing.
realize how good you have it in this country?
Okay, that's something.
Absolutely.
Now tell her how. Tell her
Best
how.
country in the world.
Tell her how, Pearl.
And you get to live the life you live at the expense of men.
No, that's not true.
Painful.
That is true.
Show me how.
Do you know how many men die every year? Just to,
Oh no.
there are men that die every year to get you crab.
How many women die every year during childbirth?
Not many.
Not in America. Not enough. Not in America. No, I don't mean not enough, but like not enough to make up for what the rest of the world does. Like, yeah, in Africa, yeah, that's a big thing. I think women in Africa, sure. You're doing something there. You're doing your duty, and you are having plenty of kids. Here, we barely have them, and you hardly ever die from it. Like, all you do is get fat from it.
This country has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed country. So a lot of women do die as a result of pregnancy and childbirth, yes.
As many as in war? As many as in war, really? I wonder, let's look. Let's look and see at how many women die in childbirth versus how many die in war. I think that number is going to be bigger for the boys, even though there's less war. I can't tell if I still have it paused. This is awful. This is, oh my God. What the fuck?
This is painful, man.
Yeah, I should ask that. Just don't sit there like this. Oh my God.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Not right now.
Talking to the mic, Pearl. Talking to the mic. Oh my God.
Should I move on? Like, what are we
my
doing
God.
now?
Can I ask a couple questions?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, let's just jump in here.
Oh, please. Please.
So, why don't we do this? I'll ask you one, and then I'll ask you one, and we'll kind of go back and forth. I kind of half jokingly said at the beginning, like Pearl had mentioned, I think you actually said it here too, that you believe you may be.
Can't hear this guy.
Do you consider yourself to be a feminist, and how would you define that?
I don't consider myself to be a feminist, mainly because it's a loaded word, and there are certain outcomes from certain waves of feminism that I don't agree with. Particularly minimizing the importance of men in society. I do think that there is, especially the third wave of feminism that's done that. I personally really value masculine men, and I don't appreciate feminists speaking on behalf of all women in regard to what women prefer. I think the Me Too movement started off as a legitimate grievance with women who were legitimately abused, and it devolved into something laughable and ridiculous, especially when, someone like Aziz Ansari gets accused of being like some sort of sexual predator when he clearly wasn't.
Ask her if we should believe all women.
So I just don't like how loaded that word is. What I actually genuinely want is equality.
Ask her if women make less money than men, and if it's fair that it's like that, if it's like that because of women's choices. Ask her that.
Among the sexes, I'm not looking for women to have an upper hand over men at all. But we need to be based in reality, and we need to look at the statistics and figure out what's really going on. If men are getting a raw deal as a result of divorces, then yeah, the laws need to change. And I genuinely thought prior to this debate that they were getting the raw.
But somehow, she's the only person who doesn't know men get fucked in divorces. The only person that doesn't know that is Anna. She needs empirical data. Like every man in the fucking world complaining about it and saying, I'm not getting married ever again. That's not a fucking enough. She needs some number on a page to say, yes, yeah, it ain't good. They bad. Graph go down.
Raw into the deal. But as I researched this, I realized I was believing in outdated myths. So, yeah.
Pearl, let me ask you this. Do you believe and obviously you are citing a lot of anecdotal stories. I do think it's fair to point out every anecdotal story is someone's story, right? So they're not fake stories and they're not meaningless, obviously, to the people who live those realities. In a lot of cases, they're very painful. Because of your platform, you speak to a lot of those people. How much is that informing where you're coming from in this debate? Is the real stories of people who have been hurt by this stuff?
I mean, I've interviewed 1,000 people. I interviewed a guy who had his kid transitioned and there was nothing he could do about it. I interviewed another guy and he spent $300,000.
Anna supported that too. She just switched to the other side. She was fully supporting that whenever all that started. And that's why it's so bad now.
Trying to get his kid back.
Point that out when you say that.
Overseas to Ukraine during the war. Just trying to be in his kid's life. So yeah, it impacts it a lot. Yeah, I've interviewed so many men that want nothing more than to just be a dad and see their kid. They don't even care about the money. They just want to see their children. And if you ask Anna, it doesn't exist.
Like I said, I sold my house, a 2,400 square foot house, and cashed out 2 retirements to get 50-50 custody. Men want to take care of their children. Men want to be in their kids' lives. And these narcissistic monsters keep them out of their kids' lives and then try and talk shit about them for not being in it. Trust me, I've been through all of it.
But if you ask any man, everybody knows somebody that it's happened to. And commentators can, they can try to minimize it. They can talk from their ivory towers and pretend it's not happening, but there's a genocide of millions of men that's going on in this country.
You use the
A
word
genocide?
Yes, a genocide.
1.6 million men commit suicide, have committed suicide since 1970.
Similar rates of women also attempt suicide but fail
Because they're terrible at everything.
because they usually don't resort to more violent means of ending their own lives.
Right,
So they'll
but
take
why- but
pills.
why-
So you can't even do that right, and you still want credit for it, right? You're still walking around. You want to not talk about men's suicide because women try it and then, get up and go to breakfast in the morning. So fucking what?
Why is it that every time we bring up men, you have to bring up women?
Because
Thank you.
we're doing a comparative analysis here. You can't just throw out
Right,
statistics
right,
without
but
comparing
it's-
it
what
to
I'm-
what the rates
pointing
are
out-
among women.
What I'm pointing out is, I just pointed.
She's pointing out is the men do die and a lot more of them. So yes, that would make it a genocide if it's being caused by these fucking policies that Anna wants to support.
Out that by 2050, more men will have committed suicide than all of the world wars combined. And your first response was, well, women commit suicide too.
Because it is a problem that is inflicting both sexes in this country. It is a tragedy and should be taken seriously rather than this weird war.
But it's not going to be taken seriously when you.
I was talking to a chick one time who tried to pretend like she tried to do that by taking NyQuil. She took 5 tablets of NyQuil and said that was an attempt.
Pretend it's not going on.
It is going on. Are you kidding me? I mean, how many of our soldiers, our veterans, come back to the United States after multiple deployments, do not get treatment or help with PTSD and other mental issues as a result of being deployed multiple times?
Right.
That's a real problem. How come you don't
Right,
talk about
but-
that?
Yeah, but
you
they
blame
come-
it on
they
marriage
come
and divorce
home,
instead.
Right, because those soldiers come home to an empty house.
You think that divorce
They're
is the reason for most of
men are
these
9
suicides?
times, men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide after.
How many
a
more
divorce.
times likely are women to commit suicide after a divorce?
That'd be so much better if she could just cite the fucking place where she got that statistic just to show it's real, because Anna's just acting like none of her statistics are real because she couldn't substantiate it earlier. She needs to have these notes in her, she's got papers right there, just write where you got it from.
What about the women?
You don't know
right?
the number,
What
right?
about-
Because you
what
didn't even
about-
care to look
what-
into it.
What about the women, though? That's always what you go to. And that's kind of what I'm trying to point out is feminists don't care about male issues. They don't.
They really
do
don't.
not care about equality. Because whenever you ask them for real equality,
Pearl, my point is that suicide is not just a male issue. It is a huge problem in this country. Women who try to end their own lives are less successful because, again, they're less
If I didn't like Pearl an awful lot, I would say maybe it was her time of the month, but
likely to use a gun, for instance, or hang themselves. They'll take pills, it'll fail. It's just a tragic thing all around. But if you actually
she definitely has I have my period all over her face right now. That's what it looks like.
care about suicide rates, then you would want to know what's causing the suicide rates or the attempts at suicide.
Divorce.
What can we do as a society to help people to prevent that from happening? And you wouldn't make it specifically and solely an issue that inflicts one sex over the other.
Again, I mean, you're just proving my point because we talk about male issues, you keep bringing it back to the women.
I just want you to compare the stats you're spewing right now with.
That's a good point. She should have said, yeah, men are killing themselves and women are trying an awful lot. So maybe things are bad because of feminism. It wasn't like that before feminism. So let's go back. Good
something
point.
to compare it to.
Okay. Do you think that women should be on the front lines of the military like the men?
If they can pass the physical test
So no.
necessary to do so,
think,
yeah.
Do you think women should be in selective service? Like the men?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and they should be on the front lines as
And we're just now learning that. Yeah, she does a lot to further that idea, huh? She's really behind it. We just learned that. I've never fucking heard her say that.
infantrymen.
If they are physically capable of doing it, yes.
Okay,
So no. Yeah, so no.
So you want to put people who aren't physically I mean, obese men wouldn't be put on the front lines.
But you can make them make you a sandwich, right? You can make a fat guy or a woman go make you a sandwich if it wasn't degrading to women, of course.
Do you think women should be jailed for false accusations?
Depends on what the false accusations are. If
Wrong answer. Always. Yes. Always.
she's
Yes or no?
falsely accusing someone of rape, for
Just
instance,
or no?
yes.
Just okay. Thank you. I agree.
Why would you not want any false allegation to not be punished? Like of anything. You just said it's false.
Do you think that child custody should be 50-50?
As long as the court determines that both parents are capable of
So no, because judges don't think that way. They think women should be the fucking parent. I went through it for years.
being caretakers, yes. In fact, that's the ideal situation.
Okay, so yes.
Yes.
All right, do you believe in alimony?
I believe in alimony in specific cases where the woman decided to forego having a career and working, decided to stay home and raise the kids. In those cases, I believe she did.
Right. Shaq's wife, she gave up a lot to fucking be a housewife. So she needs half of his fortune, as if she's a 7-foot monster who can dunk from the free throw line. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Deserves alimony, yes.
But that's a privilege.
You're ridiculous.
That's
anyway,
a-
next,
It is.
move
Wait,
on.
you said it's
No, we're staying right here. You don't
It's
decide
ridiculous.
that. We're not done.
especially,
To stay home with
especially
your
coming from a girl who grew up in an affluent situation with incredibly wealthy parents. You don't know anything about struggling.
So you can tell us about her, but when she says it about you, you just say, you don't know me. You've been on TV for 20 years and we don't know you, but you know all about Pearl.
Economically or financially. So to tell a single mother who decided to stay home and raise her children
Oh, the sisterhood got activated.
instead of work, that she doesn't deserve a penny to raise her kids after a divorce is the most
Like she wouldn't get tons of child support that she's just going to use for whatever she wants anyway.
privileged piece of shit thing to say.
This is
Ooh, that sounded like an ad hom too. I haven't heard Pearl do any ad homs, but I've heard 2 from her now.
Next,
this is the type of nagging that drives men to suicide.
Like, you decide, bitch.
but I'm married and you're
I'd be like, no, sit there. We're going to talk about what I want, bitch. You don't decide. No next.
You're not. So
Arrogant shithead.
next,
Jesus Christ.
Nope, right here. We're not done.
I get it.
Don't let her get her charisma over yours, Pearl. Hit her back and just act like, no, bitch, you little shrimp. What are you going to fucking do? Don't let them bully you, Pearl. Back to the
a little harder
silence.
to debate someone who's not an only fans girl, right?
You ain't far from it, sister.
Never. I don't need to. Not that I'm
Wouldn't
judging.
make anything now anyway.
It's why isn't paternity fraud illegal?
We've been over this
estimated-
already.
It's
Great, we got some silence back from Anna. At least that's good.
It's estimated 6% of men are fathering children that are not theirs.
I don't really believe your stats. Like, where are you getting that?
Pearl, please have these stats. Please tell her where you got these from.
Blood Bank
from?
Association. Are you happy?
Yes.
Okay,
1/3 of
that's wrong.
paternity
And yeah,
tests,
there should
wait.
be consequences for that.
but there aren't.
Okay.
But there are. Where
And there
have
should be. So
feminists
we agree
been?
on that. Next.
But you can agree, but you haven't covered
Yeah, but feminism doesn't agree with that. We're talking about feminism.
it. And that's my point, is you guys don't care about equality. You want freedom at the expense of men.
Okay, sure. Next.
Okay, good. Cool.
Do you
Thanks
think
you just
men
acknowledged
should
that. You
have
just
the right
lost
to
then.
opt
Cool.
out of fatherhood, since women have the right to opt out of motherhood?
No.
There we go. No, why not? I thought we were being equal.
Put a condom on.
Yeah, well, why couldn't she make him put a condom on? Once again, women, no accountability, all for the man, none for the woman. Just like with the apple, right? We haven't learned anything since Eve ate that fucking apple. Jesus Christ.
You don't want to have children, put a condom on.
Or require him to wear a condom. That's equal.
Yeah.
That choice is equally irresponsible.
He's the one with the Johnson. He gets to decide what he does with it.
I think I'm more of a feminist than you.
Sure. Go great. Congratulations.
I would never say that to anyone. Oh God, back to the silence. Come on, Pearl. Tap dance, do something. Oh my God.
This is the longest 30 minutes of my life.
Oh, mine too. No silence.
I'm going to interject again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was kidding. So, one thing that I do think is happening is that there is a shift that is taking place in America, and I think you both have alluded to this a little bit. And so I'll ask Anna first if you would agree with this. Because you said that going into this debate, you thought a lot of these things were true.
Right.
And you started to see that maybe these things were not as true as you had believed. Do you believe that your previous belief was informed by nonsense, or the fact that states and legislatures and courts are changing what they're doing over the last few years in terms of alimony and parental time and that kind of thing?
I think that with
Good point.
more women participating in the workforce, it's hard to argue that, women should get paid alimony when they have their own income. So yeah, I think that the culture has changed, the workforce has changed, and as a result of that, the courts weigh whether or not something like alimony makes sense. And look, much like Pearl, I had heard the horror stories, and I was basing much of my worldview on situations like this based on anecdotes, basically. And so when you look at the statistics and the broader picture, you have a clearer idea of what's actually happening in the aftermath of a divorce.
Would you be willing to concede at least that maybe some of the reasons some of these things are shifting is because of people like Pearl and others who are drawing attention to these stories? Because I think we could all agree that until recently, a lot of those stories were just stories you hear from other people, and it was not allowed in media at all. It was not discussed. Would you at least concede that?
I'm sure that there are advocates who have fought to maybe change the way these court cases play out, sure. I don't know about Pearl, though.
I understand. We're in new debates. You can't give too much credit. Pearl, in your experience,
The moderator's doing better than Pearl right now.
the men that you talk to, do you see a difference in terms of the age of those men, where maybe it's getting better for some? Because I would take it that some of the guys who are a little older and have been through this in the past, the courts are starting to recognize and realize that maybe it's not very fair.
No,
No?
no.
Why, and why do you believe that? You think the courts are completely
I mean,
oblivious?
There's men that write into my show every day just talking about how much they want to be fathers. So I hope it changes, but right now I would say no.
Do you think it's fair that all of the young women who were preyed upon as minors by Jeffrey Epstein are now experiencing yet another administration engaging in a cover-up? Or was it the female's fault for being preyed upon by a disgusting pedophile? I'm just curious.
What kind of question is that?
I think it's a pretty straightforward one.
That has nothing to do with the topic.
No, it does though, because you're talking about the unfairness of our court system, especially as it pertains to divorces. But we're talking about a guy who got a sweetheart deal after raping minor girls.
I'll hit you up on next tonight. As soon as I finish the stream, I'll hit you up.
And then even after that, multiple administrations, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, engaged in a cover-up, ensuring that those victims would never get justice.
And this has to do with this.
I mean, you want to talk about the unfairness in the court system and how terrible it is for men. What about how terrible it is for women?
Isn't this kind of familiar here? What about the women? All we want to talk about is the women. That's a really good sign we're dealing with a feminist here, because every argument is, hey, but what about the women? Like, the women have it bad. Like, the women have it so terrible right now. They have millionaires who can't even tell you, like, they can't name 6 states and they're millionaires, right? Women have it so awful right now. It's just so bad for them.
Look, that has nothing to do with anything.
It has a lot to do
I
with
think
what
in
we're talking
fairness,
about.
you gotta admit that's an anecdote too in comparison to the overall.
So yeah, use that.
It's a
Antidote.
pretty big anecdote.
Oh, is it? Pearl's was a whole city. So that's a pretty big antidote too. But you didn't want to count that one. That's what Pearl needs to do, is hit her back with her own medicine. That's that.
He's a big anecdote, but he's also an untouchable anecdote, right? He's
I don't
Yeah, where's that at in the study? You got a study for that?
think it's
little different than
untouchable.
most-
I think it's
than most
super
people.
touchable.
So let's go back to, actually, hold on. We got 10 seconds, so we won't hold on. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're actually going to take a break.
I'm a fan of this moderator now. I'm gonna start looking into more of his stuff he moderates.
We're gonna come off of the stage, and then we're gonna actually go up to the analysts and get their take on this first 30 minutes, all right? So
Sounds
take it away,
good.
Sam. Good job.
Wouldn't have said that. Okay, here we go.
That's the way it should always come back. A little pyro.
Oh, I wish they had time for her to go get an Adderall, though. She really needs one.
All right.
No more
here's what we're gonna do.
silences.
We're going to come back. We have about 15 more minutes of open debate, and then we're going to get into the final statements. So we'll pick up our open debate. Pearl, I'll let you begin.
What's your plan when men stop doing the dirty and dangerous jobs that keep society running?
If you could hold your mic.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I'll say it again.
Can you give me an example of which jobs you're referring to?
Logging, plumbing, crab fishing, oil rig.
Laying asphalt.
Yeah, those
roofing.
are dominated by men. They have the physical capacity to do it. Men and women are built differently.
What's your
So you're
plan
right.
when they stop?
I mean, we're going to have a problem. Are you suggesting that women should be forced to work on oil rigs and things like that?
I think you should be forced to have children. We're getting to a point where you're going to start having to be forced to have children. That is your duty. If you want men to go fight wars for you, your duty is to have children. And if you're being so impossible to date that you're not doing your duties, well, I guess we're going to have to put you in cages and make you. Because it's going to get to that point. If population starts getting to where we can't fucking reproduce and we don't have enough people, yeah, baby cage. We're going to put you in a cage until you have them, because you're going to have to be made to do your duty. That'll be like your time in war right there. And we won't have sex with you, just artificially inseminate you and then make you have a baby. That's what we're going to have to do, since ladies just can't do any of their duties. They can't. I'll get to that.
What's your plan?
That's a
What do
ridiculous
men
question.
get out of doing those
I don't
jobs?
have a plan, Pearl, for a
Feminists
situation in
never
which
do.
men no longer do those jobs.
They never
Maybe you
do.
do it. I don't know.
What's your plan when men start walking away from marriage? What's your plan?
Because it's happening right now. Oh, we get some silence. Here we go.
So, do men or women get a raw deal from marriage? Because you just said men walking away from marriage. So,
Yes, they walk away because they don't want to sign up for a bad deal. How is that hard to understand? I think she's trying not to understand it because it makes perfect sense. If the deal is awful and men don't want to do it, they're going to just say, fuck that, I'm not going to do it. And now what do? Population drops. Now you go to the baby cages.
is he culpable for doing that?
What is your plan when men walk away from marriage?
Is he responsible for walking
I can
away
dream.
from
Changing the
marriage?
topic, what is
Or
your
is
plan?
he just never guilty of
My
anything?
point is you shit on men.
I don't shit on
And
men.
yet
I love men.
Yet the very microphone you're using was built by men. The building was built by men. And there's no gratitude or appreciation. You just tell them they're not doing enough.
Got me. You got me.
Yeah, Anna don't need no man.
Yep.
So what's your plan when men start walking away from society?
What do you mean by walking away from society?
When men stop doing the dangerous jobs, when men stop getting married, when men stop having kids.
To be quite
What
honest
is
with
your
you,
plan?
if American men decide they no longer want to do those jobs, very likely our government will import men from countries where they're willing to do those jobs. That's probably how
what's
it's going to
your
work
plan?
out.
That sounds great for the country. Aren't we trying to get rid of all those people right now? You think we're just going to go get more because women can't be counted on to do their duty? Their duty.
When they date American women and then decide to stop too.
I'm not worried about that.
Of course you're not.
I can't wait till she goes to the baby cage pits. Oh, wait, too late.
No. I never had
The
any
future
problems.
is not going to be great for feminists. You guys are going to get the equality that you're asking for. Men are not going to protect women in the streets. Men are going to stop signing up for the infrastructure jobs. The birth rate's going to keep falling, and the future is going to be bleak.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm starting to see why Andrew might have thought that she won this because that is not a okay. Well, let's just have a bad. That's your answer, Anna. We'll just have a bad society then, I guess. Okay. That cool.
Listen, I think men and women
Uh-oh.
serve important roles in society. I think that
This is
you
getting better.
have a shallow understanding of what I believe, number one, but more importantly, what the dynamic is between men and women in modern society. You're under this weird impression that the anecdotal evidence that you cite is indicative of the outcome of all marriages. In reality, study after study shows that married
Half of
couples
marriages
tend
end in
to be
divorce.
happier than single individuals.
Right? They're happy before the divorce.
Divorce is terrible. Divorce
And the
means
other
that the
thing
marriage
is-
didn't work
yeah,
out. Obviously, they're not going to be happy in the middle of a
Like,
divorce.
correlation doesn't mean causation. People marry happy people and date happy people in general. You're attributing it to marriage, but you're not going to marry someone that's a bitch.
Okay.
Anna's husband did.
You're right, Pearl.
You know, what's really interesting is if you look at marriage rates,
Food,
which have
eight-
dropped in the United States, not just in the United States, actually globally, you'll notice that the people who are less likely to get married happen to be those who are from a lower socioeconomic status.
Right, marriage is disappearing from the middle class. That's true.
From poor individuals, yes.
What's
Do
your
you,
point?
do you wonder why?
Because women marry rich.
Yeah.
People forego marriage due to their own personal financial situation.
So women marry for money a lot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My personal situation is women suck. Everyone I meet is fat, ugly, and awful. So yeah, that's my current situation.
So I'm going back to this.
Let me ask you
Men.
something, Pearl.
Men.
Would you be willing to
88
marry a guy who's
men.
poor?
Talk over her, Pearl.
Men.
Because I married a
going
guy who was
louder,
in debt
Pearl.
and
Men.
loved
Microphone
the
right
hell out of
here.
him. Best
All right.
thing in my life.
Yell, Pearl.
Would
Yell.
you marry a
Very-
guy who is
that's-
broke,
that's very
no
nice,
career,
Anna.
and in debt?
That's
Would
very,
you?
that's
Don't let her
very
bully
nice,
you.
Anna.
Would you?
So I'm going back
Answer
to
the
the
question.
topic.
Would you marry a
So,
broke guy
all
in
right,
debt?
All right, so we're going back to the
Would you?
topic.
Would you?
All right, this is the next.
I date women who work fast food. I don't give a fuck where you work. I'm paying for everything anyway, so why would I care?
Rich women just want you to do more expensive shit. I'm still paying. I've dated women who make lots of money. I still pay for everything. So why fucking do that? I'll date the fucking poor ones so I don't have to spend as much.
Nagging. This
Or
is
a
the
dump 'em.
nagging again. Okay, so.
I'm
men,
pushing you to answer a
88
question because
all
you are
right,
judging
all right.
women,
Oh my
making a
God.
blanket statement
This is
of
the
who they
nagging.
would be willing to marry,
The
who they
nagging,
wouldn't be
make it
willing to marry.
stop.
But you're not answering the question
God help
yourself.
us.
Would you be willing to marry
Does
a
your
broke
husband
guy
have
in
to-
debt?
Does your husband have to listen to
wouldn't,
this?
would you?
Does he have to listen to this?
Oh, he loves it.
All right,
Can't get
so
enough of
Anna is an outlier, and she's only that way because she's in the media. Like, most women will not marry anyone who makes less money than them. They need a man who is better than them in every way. And if you need a study, just go watch whatever, because they say it every fucking week, every woman on there. They need a man who is taller, funnier, handsomer, richer, everything. Everything, even a bigger dick. Everything has to be better on the man. And then they wonder why they can't get the guy they want. Yeah, why would he want some inferior fucking shit that you can't do? You're not better than him in anything. You're not going to be able to add anything. You bring nothing to the table. So that's why. And it's obvious. Anyone who watches media, anyone who sees everything around you, it's not like it's something you can quantify. I'm sure you can find a study, but you just have to be so stupid to act like you don't see that women are awful now. You have to have some kind of mental contagion if you try not to see it.
can I go back
Do you
to the
not want to answer
question?
that? Why do you not want to answer that?
Yeah, why not?
Just say, no, I don't want to prove
Love is love. Now back to the question. Men, 88% of the food. The power grid, 93% men. Transportation, 95% men.
Men are an important society.
Communications, 90% men. Material production, 78% men. Software, 80% men. Auto workers, 98% men. Carpenters, 98% men. Electricians, 98% men. If you remove the top male-dominated jobs from the economy, you would have no running cars, no housing, no electricity, no open machinery, no materials or fabrics, and no computers. There would be no buildings and no Amazon delivery.
I've never
What
once said
is your
that men
plan?
are not a
What-
very important
Feminists,
part of American
you want-
society.
You want men enslaved to women for nothing in return.
No, you're just making
That's
things
what you
up.
want.
Yep.
That's what you want. You want men on the hook for
Okay,
child
Pearl,
support.
what have I
You
said
want
that
men on the
gives
hook
you that
for
impression?
alimony.
Let her finish
What
her
have I
sentence.
said
You
that
want-
gives you that impression?
You want men on the hook for child support. You want men on the hook for alimony.
You want men to not take responsibility for their own children.
You've been on.
Right, because men have to have responsibility. Women don't. If women have sex that they like, just like with an abortion, why can you get rid of something just because you don't want it? If I have to pay for it for 18 years, y'all never are capable of handling the consequences of your actions. It's fucking obvious, and anyone who can't see it is just having a mental issue like Anna has right
the
here.
air for 20 years, and you have not advocated for men that are victims of paternity fraud.
Not once.
You want men to do all of the work, get no credit for nothing.
I do
and men aren't
political
going to do
news.
it anymore. They're going to walk away, Anna. They're not going to do it anymore. And feminists, as you said, have no plan
I like
for when that
ladies.
happens. And I
What
wish
do you
luck.
want their plan to be? You think it's a feminist responsibility
What
to
happened-
plan for this made-up society where all men decide
You know
they
Like
what's
that
no
one.
longer want
You
to
guys
work?
know what's funny? She actually advocated for left-wing policies last 20 years. And then she got assaulted by a homeless person.
What does that have to do with the topic?
Because
at
it
hand?
was the result of what you voted for, Anna.
Yeah.
Good point. I like that.
First of all,
And so,
No
and,
one-
and want to know why? Because
you think
Anna,
I voted?
Because,
Hold on.
because-
Talk louder,
because-
Pearl.
voted
because-
for homeless
better.
people
because-
to go around
all right, so,
sexually assaulting
Anna-
people?
Just talk
because
over.
Anna
By the
was,
way, I got sexually assaulted
Do you know
by
what's- do
a
you know what's-
guy.
all
Was
right,
that
all right.
was
So,
that
do you know what
his
the other crazy
responsibility?
thing
Was that
is?
something that he did, or was that my fault too?
I'd love to hear his side of the event. I would really love to hear that.
all right, so the other crazy
So I can make fun of him for fucking Ana Kasparian.
thing is that Anna complains that women's opinions aren't taken seriously, while a whole event was catered around her opinion. The other thing that's crazy
What are you talking about?
is Anna complains about women being oppressed, and yet she had less experience than her co-host at the Young Turks.
Hold on.
And-
hold on. What were my complaints about women being
To be fair, she did get that position back when she was young and pretty. It's kind of confusing why she's still there.
oppressed? Can you be specific?
All right.
What
You've
did I
had
say?
20
Go ahead
years
and quote
on-
me.
you've had-
Go
but
ahead and
you-
quote me because you make shit up
Yeah.
And you just
all
think
right.
like it's gonna stand.
nagging,
You've never
make
had
it
a
end.
strong woman
Make it end, the
challenge your
nagging, make it
bullshit
end.
assertions. So go ahead and
Make
tell me
it
what
end.
have I complained about?
Okay.
Give me the quote.
The nagging. You said women's opinions are not taken seriously.
When did I say that?
In a YouTube video.
There's 2 women on this stage
Okay,
right now
all
for the
right. Are we-
headline event.
Oh my God, are we gonna end?
When have I said women's opinions
All right,
don't
all
get
right.
taken seriously?
It's
You
kind
just
of
make
You
like
have
a
said that.
roundabout.
I have heard her
This
say
is
that.
like eternal nagging.
What is your plan for when the
there she
80%
goes.
of women who work in the healthcare industry no longer want to do it? What's your
I
plan?
have a plan.
Yeah, what's your plan?
Let's give the jobs to the men. They'll do it better.
Yes, when the women decide they're going to go do it, lay asphalt instead of being nurses. Yeah, that's going to happen. I can foresee it. I can really foresee that happening.
Because we see what's happening in the media. You know, women fly planes, they crash them. All women
They are good at that.
almost burned down California. You know, people
Lesbian chief almost saved it. Almost.
are dying because they want to make women feel better. People literally,
What I'm curious about is whether or not the Pick Me
She's
Act
pretending.
ever resorted into anything positive for you.
Are you done?
I'm not.
All right, so I'm not either.
Should be.
Okay, keep going.
Now, the other thing is,
Shit.
women fly planes, they crash them. Women are in CEOs.
What
they
are the
quit.
stats on
most
that?
Female,
What are the
most
stats
female
on that?
You know, it's like feminists. They want stats that say water is wet. The
Yeah,
sky
I
is
want
blue.
empirical evidence.
Right.
Budweiser. There you go. She just said CEOs. They fuck up shit when they're CEOs. Budweiser. How's that one? Is that a good one? It's not a statistic, but it's a fucking example, a really big example. And it happens all the time. Women love to insert their ideas in the shit that men created and made great. They like what's the one? Gillette. Gillette did the same shit. They do it everywhere. Jaguar. There's plenty of examples whenever you let women start being executives and everything gets feminized to where it sucks. Think of this. Before feminism, men wrote movies. Men made movies. They were the main driving force behind movies were men. Now women are in every kind of role up there, like all the way up to the executive branch. And when was the last time you saw a good movie? When was the last time you saw a funny one? Tropic Thunder? What was that, 15 years ago? They don't make funny movies no more because we let women into roles they don't belong because we say, oh, well, it's equality. We got to let them. Okay, how's that equal? How is that equal? It's just putting someone who's not competent in this position where they shouldn't be. And it's ruining their businesses. Look at Marvel. Look at the Star Wars franchise. Look at Marvel's steady decline. Everything at Disney, pretty much. That's female bullshit being inserted into our media. This is a really good point Pearl made. I'm sorry I went on a rant.
To back up your arguments.
Because you want to be in control of telling people what to think and how to feel.
No, I want to
Yep.
be in reality. I want to live in a fact-based reality that requires empirical evidence.
Yeah, the reality she wants to live in is where men can be women and women can be men. That just changed now that it got crazy. She's out of it now. But she was voting for all the people who pushed that. She was 100% behind the trans community. And now look where we're at. We're having to get rid of the bad idea that women inserted upon us, just like feminism.
Not your assertions.
300. We all saw that plane crash on the East Coast. No one's making that up, Anna.
You do better when you're reading off your paper, so I'll give you some time to do that.
So you don't let her get away with these fucking... Yeah, this is
In the
bad.
future, because I'm sure you'll find yourself in more
All right,
of these
what if-
debates, I actually think that you could be an incredible debater. But you need to look at the broader picture, not just
God,
rely
the
on
nagging,
anecdotes,
the
and
nagging.
don't make things up out of
Nagging.
full cloth.
Okay. Feminism empowered women. I'll take the tip, thank you. Feminism empowered women to sign up for previously male-dominated careers that they quit. 48 to 73% of female lawyers, depending on the type of firm, quit either as junior associates or at mid-career. 1/4 of them cite workload,
Not
burnout,
fully.
and mental health. 73% of women who got engineering degrees in the past 15 years
bad.
either have never entered the
Yes.
field professionally or quit early mid-career. 55% of all female accountants quit before or at their mid-level career. The attrition rate for women in STEM is approximately 50%. These companies often bend over backwards to get women hired to the point of discrimination against male qualified candidates. Then women quit because they don't want to work the long hours or deal with the levels of stress for an extended period of time, with women being 2.5 more likely to take antidepressants than men. The money and prestige isn't worth it to them. They prefer lower pay, lower workload, and higher job security. Feminism has empowered women to go to college and take out loans they can't afford for career paths that will not generate them income to pay off those loans.
Men have higher debt than women.
Right, because
They do.
Because women put their biggest expenses on their husband's credit card.
So you got to back that up, Pearl. You got to be able to prove that.
According to Experian, and they look and
Women are
account for those
85%.
factors
Women
that
are
you just
85%
mentioned.
of women are
Hold on.
85% of consumer spending. We lead when it comes to luxury brands.
Men have more mortgage debt, car loan debt, personal credit card debt.
I don't believe that one.
Personal loan
They're
debt.
expected to provide.
Maybe
Women
that
make
one.
80% of consumer buying decision. Again, if feminists really cared about equality, they would provide for the men.
They would what?
Where's
for men?
where's
Sorry,
king
I missed
treatment,
that.
fellas?
Sorry, can you repeat
If
that?
feminists cared about
We are the ones keeping society moving. So yeah, maybe you should. Like your grandparents used to do that way, right?
equality, they would provide for the men. But yet, that is a small minority of women.
I mean, taking care of. I don't mean like going and paying the bills.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Honestly, your whole shtick is women should bend over backwards and do everything they can.
You should be thankful for the world men give you. You'd be living in a fucking. You wouldn't be alive, really. Like that's silly. But if men didn't create the world that you walk around in, yeah, you would be living in medieval times. You'd be washing your shit down by the river on a rock. You'd just be pounding your dirty drawers on a fucking rock by the river. Men create everything, and you're not thankful. You just think it's owed to you because you're a lady
For men.
or a woman, not a lady.
My argument,
I'm an
My
egalitarianist.
hold on, my argument is that men and women are both tremendously important to a functioning society. They should both be treated with respect.
We were fine before we let women into our society. What are you talking about?
They
Prove
both
it.
serve different jobs, different roles, and in order for society to work, we have to respect that.
If men disappeared tomorrow, women would be dead in a year. If women disappeared, we would be dead like whenever everybody got tired of jerking off and just died of natural causes because we can't reproduce. It's a totally different thing. We would be fine. It would just be kind of lonely and sad, and we wouldn't have anybody to make us a sandwich.
That.
Women are
but
not
you
equal- the
seem
women are
to
not-
put the onus and responsibility of everything onto women while providing cover for the bad behavior of men.
Women are not equally important because they don't do the equal
Men
work.
are equally
Right.
important.
Women
I
are
never
Not
said
equally.
that they weren't.
Women are not equally important because they don't do the equal amount of work. Men have invented the majority of the inventions. Men have
Really?
started
Yeah.
Fortune
Yes.
500 companies. Men do the majority of the infrastructure job. Men produce
And women show up and say, now we're going to change it so I can do this too.
90% of
Who's scrubbing the toilets
80%
after
of the
work?
food supply, 90% of the world's stuff.
Oh, good job. That gets society moving, scrubbing shit off the toilet.
Who's changing the diapers?
Not
Who's-
women.
who's
Not
raised-
women.
Me, I used to change the diapers. What are you talking
They're
about?
not having
children
kids.
after
Women aren't
working
having kids,
all
so
day
women
long.
aren't doing it. Daycare workers now, to be honest, it's not the moms.
Not everyone
Some Haitians doing it now.
grew up in an affluent household like you. They need a dual income household in order to make ends meet in this economy.
Anna, you
live
talk.
in reality for
Anna,
one day
you
of your
talk.
life.
Anna, you talk for a living.
I'd like to look into Anna's background because she talks like she's from the mean streets of like Toledo or something. I bet you she went to a private school. I can guarantee you Anna went to a private school.
It's kind
I
of
do.
rich for you to come at me.
What, bitch? What do you do for a living?
Now, bitch, third at home.
I also talk, but I can acknowledge it's not that hard
Okay.
of a job.
Talk a lot of
Where
bullshit.
You,
I'd have said, bitch, I can fight too. You want to talk some shit now?
well,
Fucking
you pretend
trash.
it's more important than it is.
Right. Okay.
Well, since there were only about 30 seconds left, we'll just call it there. All right, good job.
The only reason she was able to say those smart ass shit to fucking Pearl is because of men. Because she knows a cop will stop her if Pearl decides to go over there and stomp a mud hole in her ass. But we got to protect the ladies. We got to let them talk shit and act stupid. Anyway, this one depressed me, man. I think we're at the end here. Yeah, they got a little at the end. I'll go ahead and go to the rest of it, but I think this is kind of wrapping up. I might be ending it soon.
I'll give these debaters a round.
Yeah, it was closer than the clips made it look.
5-minute closing statements where you will not attack each other.
I can at least see how Andrew thought she won it. It was a very close one in any case.
I'm just going to go ahead and read what I couldn't get to in my opening statement, if you don't mind.
Oh, dude, I'd pay for that on pay-per-view. God damn, I'd watch that.
Taking advice from someone like Pearl will ensure that you will be lonely and incredibly sad. If you have this dark view of an entire sex, nearly 50% of the country, I can't imagine living day to day being a happy person. I don't know what Pearl actually believes. Part of me feels like this is a shtick. But I'm going to take what you say at face value and just think you genuinely believe it. And if you do genuinely believe it, I actually feel really bad for you. If you think women in general fit in this weird description where they're looking to take advantage of people, where they're looking to rip people off, where they're looking to get married only to divorce and steal a man's money, you live in an alternate universe. Sometimes divorces are ugly. Sometimes there are bad women who make things up, who lie about rape, and there should be consequences for that.
But there aren't.
The difference between you and me is that I think the bad behavior of women deserves consequences, just like the bad behavior of men deserves consequences. That's
What about them men?
equality is.
One's not.
What about
you're
them men?
advocating for is a society in which men get away with everything and women get blamed for everything. That's it.
For the most
What
part.
else am I going to say?
Yeah, I agree. I just say, yeah,
Close.
a lot of that.
All right. I can go.
Come on, Pearl.
Might as
All
well.
right.
Jump in there.
Feminists
here.
are mainly white, middle-class female liberals who have no idea how the real world works and yet want to advise you on how to live in it. Let me go through your complaints. Feminists want control over their bodies. You win. You have 12 types of birth control, and you can actually Uber Eats a Plan B. You have abortion on demand, and in states
point.
that it's not, it's simply a weekend trip. You have aborted an eighth of the world population. You win. Feminists wanted to fight against rape culture. You win. If a woman is raped, assaulted, or if she revokes consent after the fact, she has the power to get a man fired from his job, kicked out of school, or thrown in jail. You won, feminists. Women want to be free of traditional gender roles? Fine. Men invented the dishwasher, the Roomba, the air fryer, fast food, and Uber Eats. There are meal
Makes being a housewife sound really easy, don't it?
prep services and cheap restaurants. You win. Women wanted to have a career first and get married later in life. Men allowed women to come into the workforce and have millions of dollars in funding, pushing women into male-dominated fields and scholarships, and invented IVF to give us another 5 years of fertility. The husbands pay for the IVF, and they are pushing to get it taxpayer funded. You win. Women wanted to be sexually liberated instead of getting married. Men invented Tinder and Hinge, so random men can literally come to your door. The men from your hometown are not good enough. Men invented social media so you can get flown out by the highest status men in the world.
If you were prettier.
Women did not want to work labor jobs? Fine. Men invented social media so you can talk into a microphone and get paid. You can now work from home so you can have a family and be a mom. You can make money selling your nudes on the internet and become a billionaire. Women did not want to give birth? Fine. Men invented surrogacy so another woman can do it for you. Women wanted to be thin without working out. Now you have Ozempic. You want to look younger? Fine. Men invented Botox, hair dye, filters on your phone, nose jobs, Anna knows, plastic surgery, lash extensions, makeup, and AI to make you look thinner.
You
win.
should look into it.
You can now wait till 40 to have a baby, freeze your face, work in an air-conditioned office, earn a living sitting on your ass, getting fat, spending money you don't
Next to
have,
Chink.
marry someone to pay it off, divorce him, Put them on alimony and child support. Get a Roomba, abort your kid, have unprotected sex on camera, get paid for it, order any cooked food to your door, get a self-driving car, and then complain to men that they caused you to be lazy and fat. You are now empowered to have 10 abortions, bang 300 men, take a DEI position that pays $300K a year, Uber Eats a Plan B, study underwater basket weaving, and get sympathy when your degree pays no money. Feminists are spoiled, liberal, progressive women that have no idea how good they have it. You guys will never be happy until men are nothing but empty shells who are slaves to the system, fueled by feminists' selfishness, spending habits, and poor choices. Feminists don't care about equality because if they did, there would be equal rights for men. There would be equal men's shelters. There would be equal funding for men's cancer. There would be real equality. I checked 20 different feminist websites and have not found one that mentioned a single issue that asks for men to be equal. It only asks for special treatment. Feminism has empowered women to destroy this country through the death of 1,000 cuts. Feminism is not about equality, it's about insidious domination. It has been a slow creep to where women are complaining about their non-existent oppression. Men have figured this out because they're highly adaptive and the math is not mathing. I am curious to know feminists' plan when men refuse to stop providing, protecting, and maintaining the civilization you enjoy corrupting. Feminists are about to fuck around and find out. Feminists have won. You destroyed every single male group that used to be strictly for men, like Boy Scouts. You can falsely accuse men of rape, harassment, and endless lawsuits. Feminists have more political power, voting power, and spending power than any other group. Everybody caters to you. Corporations cater to you because women are the primary purchasers. Politicians because they need the vote. Men have to pay child support to a rapist. Men are not believed when they're abused. Men have to die at work and at war. Men have to pay child support for 18 to 21 years. Men have to register in selective service. Men are not given additional consideration for college admissions, jobs, opportunities, and scholarships. Children are not DNA tested at birth, leading to maternity fraud, which is not prosecuted at all. And men will more than likely deal with this in their lifetime. Men are the majority of the homeless. Men are the majority of the suicides. Women can hit men, and men can't hit back.
That's a big one too.
Has empowered women to destroy men, and congratulations, 1.6 million men have committed suicide. What more do you want, Anna?
All right. That is the debates. Let's give it a big hand for the...
All right. I have some interesting, let me see. My verdict on this one is kind of strange here. From a technical perspective, I do think that Anna won that one just on the technical debate stuff. But anyone with any common sense, like most people who were watching this, knows that Pearl is absolutely right and everything she's saying is true. She just has to find a way to where she gets the statistics so she can just shut Anna up, because that was all charisma. The only thing that won that for Anna is experience and charisma. Like, and I'm not saying Pearl doesn't have charisma. She's got more than Anna. She's just not showing it here. Like if she was in the comfortable state like she is in her podcast, she'd have dominated her. But she was very uncomfortable and it showed. It also showed that she didn't quite prepare, and like I'm sure she's used to just being able to grab her phone and look that up and say, here's your information. You can't do that in a debate. So she needs to have that going in beforehand. And it's got I think she's going to learn from this, and I think our next debate will be much better. But like I said, I can see how Andrew did think she won this, because she definitely won the opening statement. She definitely won the closing statement. It's the debate between where she kind of, all that silence and all those, not knowing what to say and the uncomfortable pauses, that's fucking a killer in a debate. So I do think she technically lost the debate, but she won the war on this one because, like I said, most people know that she's right. Like everybody doesn't really need a fucking statistic to say, yes, women do ruin corporations whenever they start trying to impose their feminine thinking into the way, the procedure that's been in place since way before they were born. It's just crazy. So I think that, I will call this a push, I guess, but I can see how the debate side was won by Anna, but the smart people that watch this will definitely see that Pearl made more sense. She just did. So I don't know how you classify that, and I also had a real epiphany while I was watching this too, even though I don't have any viewers right now. Everybody jumped out because I almost closed it earlier. But yeah, I found a way that we can make women's sports interesting from this. And it just came to me while I was watching it because I was dying to see Pearl just go over there and slap the shit out of Anna. If we started interviewing, like it would all be for fights. Like I can't make WNBA good unless they lower the rims. But for like fights and stuff, if you interviewed the women like this, like had them do a little debate first, and we found out a little bit about them, that way you really want to see somebody get their ass kicked. That's how you should do it. You should have a debate before a fucking fight. Now you know which one you want to see get destroyed. I think that would work. I want to try this. If I could talk to somebody at the UFC, I think we can make women's fighting even. Well, women's fighting's not as bad as WNBA, but that would still make it a lot more fun to get to see some big mouth bitch get her face kicked in. Oh, I'd get on pay-per-view for that. So I'm trying to do these earlier. So look for me tomorrow. I got a doctor's appointment at 2, so I'm gonna try and do this earlier, and so I can knock it out and get to my doctor's appointment because I don't want to do it all night long. I don't have any viewers at night, so my time frame is like usually a little bit mid-afternoon. I'm gonna try and do it a little earlier again tomorrow, just so that I can get out of here in time to make my doctor's appointment and fend off the advances of that weirdo that keeps trying to stick shit up my ass. It's a colonoscopy type thing. It's not anything, but I will. Let me see. There was one more thing I was wanting to go into too. Shit, I don't remember. I can't read my handwriting, so I don't remember what my note's about. Oh well, I guess I'll tell you that one tomorrow. Let me get back out to the media. Get y'all some music. I'm trying some new songs too. I downloaded a couple of new songs. This one I got. People didn't like my closing and opening song, so I downloaded it with the lyrics because the instrumental does sound kind of weird. So. See if y'all like this. Better with the music. I like it better with the music.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer.
And I will see y'all tomorrow.
They wanna let the world decay. They tell us
Peace.